Hey folks, what you see here is a Soroban. This is essentially a type of Japanese abacus which helps calculate arithmetic, multiplication, addition, subtraction, division, some square roots, and a few other things. I got this on eBay. Cost me about less than $5 US with shipping included. It's made out of wood, as you can see here. It has a one bead on top, four on the bottom, this bar across the middle, these red dots, which is a little bit misprinted, but that's okay. Quality is decent, not great. Remember, it's only less than $5 shipped. Not bad. When it came in the mail, I had to do a little modification with these screws. Things were not really working too well. They shouldn't be flush all the way in because then these bars don't retract under here. So there's a few considerations as far as design goes, but overall not too bad. I mean, if it's all jumbled up, let's say, and we reset, it does the job. Not great, but it does. What are the basic properties of a Soroban? Let's have a look. I'm going to zoom in and try to explain it, and then later we'll do a few videos actually showing the use of this thing. I'm going to start with these brown beads. Remember, you can pick a decimal point anywhere you want. You know, I can choose this area. Let's choose these brown ones. These beads on top are worth 5, and these are worth 1 each. So what ends up happening is when you're putting a value down, these are just basically your digits. You know, you can choose this to be the single or ones unit, and then 10, 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million, and so on. This particular Soroban has 12 positions. So you can, if you started off here as singles, you'd have 100, 1,000, a million here. You would have a billion here, and you could go up to 999 billion on this particular Soroban. But if you decide to make this the point, then you can have ones here, 10, 100, 1,000, 10, 100,000. And you could actually have up to 6 digits precision. So you can choose whatever you want, but we're going to just put in values here. I'll write down some numbers here. So here, this is, let's say this is the 1, 10, 100. So here we have, that's, here I'll start off. 2, 3, 4. When things touch this line here, that's called the reckoning bar, they're counted. So that's 4. When you want 5, you've got to move these down, and this now becomes a 5. This is worth 5. So 5, this is 6 because you have a 5 and a 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 10, you reset that to 0, and you put a 1 up here in the tens column. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And then you bring this one up as you reset this. So you got 20. So that's basically how it's done. And the interesting thing is that when you start using this, you become almost automatic as far as moving the beads around. So let's do some math here, just as an example, some simple addition. Okay, so I'll zoom out a little bit. Okay, you can see this. Let's do 25 plus 67. Okay. So let's put 25 on this particular column here. So here's 25. Now I want to add 67. So the way you do the math here, normally when we add, we usually are used to putting a number here and then carrying over and then adding the next one, right? But when you do on a Soroban, you typically you can function in the way that it's read off. So you put 25 down, and when you want to add 67, you want to add 6 to this column. So what's 6? It's a 5 beat and a 1. Okay, so that's 60. And you want to add a 7 here. You'll start learning about complements. So 7 you can't add because you only have 4 more beats here. And if you do that, you can't, you'll be adding 4, but you can't add the other 3 for the 7. So in this case, you want to add the complement. So that's a 7, you have to remember, is actually a 10 minus 3. So you can actually add a 10 here. You've added 10, and you have to take 3 away from here. How do you take 3 away from here? Well, 3 is actually a 5. You take away a 5 and you add 2, right? So what you've done is you've broken down the 7 into 10 minus 5 plus 2, okay? That is the same as minusing 3. So the answer, if you read off the Soroban, is 92. If you do the math, you'll see it's correct. 5 plus 7 is 12. You carry a 1 up here, and then 1 plus 2 plus 6 is 9. So you'll start noticing these patterns, and a lot of it has to do with these complementary type calculations, because you have to carry things over. You run out of beads in one column, so you'll end up doing another one. Okay, let's try another example. Okay, let's do 259 plus 674. Okay, so let's do 259. So you should become very efficient and quick at reading off the numbers. So 259, and you add 674. So again, under normal circumstances, you would probably add 9 plus 4, put a digit down, carry over, add 5 plus 7, right? And a Soroban, you go the other way. So let's add 6 to here. How do I add 6? A 5 and a 1. That's 6. 7. Can you add 7 here? Yes, but not directly. Remember, can't add 7 because you only have 4 beads. You really have to add 10 and take away 3. Remember, just like we did over here. You have to add 10, take away 3, but you can't take away 3. You got to take away 5 and add 2. So you add 10, take away a 5, and add 2. So that's the same as adding a 7 to this column. And here you have to add 4. How do you add 4 to 9? Well, you can't, because you don't have enough beads. They're all set already to the reckoning bar. So to add 4, you add 4 by adding 10 and subtracting 6, right? So imagine you add 10, and now to subtract 6, you take away a 5 and take away 1. So you have the answer 933. And you can prove that that's correct. Again, 9 plus 4 is 13, you carry a 1 over. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 7 is 13, you carry 1 over. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 6, 9. So there you have it. Again, just a couple of quick examples of using the Soroban for addition, okay? And you know, as you get better, you can really go quickly, and you can add multiple numbers together. And you can do entire strings. Like, that's just 2 numbers, but you can imagine, you know, you have a whole row of numbers, and all you have to do is read off each column, like a 10, 20, 30, right? If you have a, you know, a number of digits, let's say you want to add, 56, 72, 91, 35, okay? So 5, 7, 9, 1. So let's start at 56. Sorry, let's reset. Here we go. Okay. So 56, there's 56. Now you add 7. How do you add 7? You can't, so you add a 10, or this in case 100, right? You can't add 70, so you add 100, you minus 30. So you minus 50 and add 20, okay? Then a 9, how do you add 9 to this? You can't, so you do a 10 or 100 minus 10, that's 90. Plus 30, there's 30. So you've now dealt with all these digits here. Now you have 6, 2, 1, 5, right? So let's add 2, 1, you have to add 5. How do you add 5 to 9? You can't. You've got 40 here, so if you slide down, you just add a 10, and you have to subtract the 5, because you want to add only 5, not 10. So the answer becomes 200, and this is 54. Let's figure out if that's correct. 254. Okay? So right, let's zoom in here. So 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14. Put a 1 here. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 7 is 13, plus 9 is 22, plus 3 is 25. There's your answer, which we figured out on the Soroban quite rapidly. without having to go through all the steps. Again, some people can do it on paper. If you want to do it on the Soroban, it makes it a little bit easier sometimes. There are competitions showing that people who do it on the Soroban over time can actually get to the point where they don't even need the Soroban. They can do it in their head, and they could do these kinds of calculations fairly quickly. And I think it's good for kids, you know, if they want to at least, rather than use a calculator off the bat, something like this can help them use their brain a little bit more than just punching randomly into a calculator numbers. I think it's a little bit more challenging to use a Soroban and has them think a little bit longer. So definitely something worth checking out. I'm going to do the next video now on multiplication, just to show you a quick example of multiplying 3-digit numbers by another 3-digit number. And since we have 12 digits available here, you can actually set 3 digits here and 3 here, so you can see what you're doing, and then calculate it on these 6 here. Because if you have a 3-digit number by a 3-digit number, the biggest length that your answer could be is 6 digits, as we'll see. Okay, so let's see you on the next video, and hope you learned something. If you have any ideas or suggestions on using a Soroban, please leave it in the comments. Thank you for watching.